Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. We are talking today the Quicklines and Sillyville. And we do have a couple of updates here, so let's go ahead and chat updates. So the first update is the Colorado age attestation bill that kind of started most people aware of all of this crazy nonsense, has a carve-out for open source applications and operating systems. So, of course, Carl Richard at System 76, of course, a Linux computer company, and also the creators of Cosmic Desktop Environment and Pop OS. When this, and they are, of course, Colorado based. When this comes out, they're like, ugh! Because they're in Colorado, they completely have to comply. And how do they do that? Do they pressure Ubuntu to put something in? Do they have to put something in their Cosmic Desktop environment? How do you possibly get something like this into an operating system by which somebody else could go in and pull that same system out? Because, yeah, Linux is open source and the user can do it. So he actually had some discussions with the politicians up there. And in the Senate bill, there are revisions to it which allow carve-outs for open source software and operating systems. So at the time of I was reading the articles last night, the updated text was not on there, but writing on Blue Sky and Mastodon, he says, I received the amended Colorado age attestation bill. Open source operating systems and applications are excluded. Code repos are excluded, like GitHub and GitLab, and containers such as Docker and Podman are also excluded. So he says he testifies Thursday, that would be today, and could use your help. I need stories about incredible things kids have made thanks to access to open source software, and he asked for DMs. So that's actually pretty good news. The downside of this is one state law, and we have federal laws that do not at this time have the carve-out that are being discussed. Now, there is some pretty good estimates that the federal one is not going to go anywhere, especially since most of the other laws that we have are tied up in courts right now, and in many cases they have said, yeah, the potential that this is actually going to pass constitutional muster is not good. So United States might still be free, but that's not stopping big tech from starting to implement this. Of course, the latest iOS update pushes your age attestation, and let's suppose the Colorado one does it. They push the attestation with the carve-outs for open source software, and then the federal law passes. It doesn't have a carve-out. Well, it's pretty much useless. But now having one state with these, and if there's favorability towards that, maybe any other laws that get passed would have these carve-outs put into it, because these politicians have no earthly idea what in the hell they're talking about. And the fact of the matter is, if these people, if you cannot hand them a phone and just ask them like a couple base questions. Number one, is this an iPhone or an Android? Okay, open up such and such an application. Okay, go into the settings and tell me the Android version of this Android phone. If they can't do that type of stuff off the top of their head, they have absolutely no business making any laws regarding computer equipment at all. Stop making laws about things you know nothing about. But of course, these people will not respect power, and this is why we also need term limits. Can you imagine how much better our country would be if we did not have this dystopian group of psychopaths that have been in office for the last 70 years? Like, Congress is supposed to be where you go and do your public duty, not to build a stupid career on. And then these people decide they're going to learn nothing while they're in office other than how to do inside trading and manipulate things for their own benefit and their friend's own benefit, et cetera, et cetera. And so the challenge here, of course, number one, let's go ahead and get term limits. Number two, maybe we should have a basic technological competency exam for these people. And if they cannot tell you basic things about a basic piece of equipment, they're just not qualified to sit here in office in a technological world. We are in a technological world. They want us all to be using technology, yet they do not know the first thing about any of this kind of stuff. Not a one of them that can't tell you basic things about technology and computers should be in office. Vote them all out, people. Vote them all out. Bring in people who understand what they're talking about. Anyway, Apple fixed the bug that we talked about last week that would allow the FBI to get in to see the Signal messages. If you remember that, Signal sends a message out and it shows up on the notification cache on your phone. And even if you delete Signal, delete the app, delete the message, those notifications remain in the cache. So Apple actually fixed that bug this week. So this way, if you do have Signal or you have a situation where you don't want that message to be in cache, they actually are clearing that cache out more frequently now. And so that is actually a really good update as far as this goes. That this basically not only Signal, but of course any private application which sends messages out to the notification center will actually be properly cleared, is what the saying goes. All right, this one here is an interesting one. Android 17 is going to end all or nothing access to your contacts. Now, the article here at Malwarebytes does say this does not go far enough, and I agree. I think that the sharing of contacts on an Android device should be effectively eliminated. And the reason is I cannot give consent to that. Now, a couple major carve-outs. Obviously, if you have an email application, and there should be a means to get in there and say, okay, which of these contacts has an email address put in there? So like my phone, I don't use the contacts on my phone as an email list and things like that. I'm a boomer, guys. Okay. We had separate mailing lists on email, like a phone book with people's phone numbers and an email list is a different thing to a person with my old brain. You young folks, you have one little device that you store phone numbers and emails, and that one single contact list goes here and there and everywhere and all this kind of crap. All right. It's a different way of thinking about things. But for me, I do not have a single email address stored in the contact list on my phone. So I install some application. It's like, hey, I need your contacts. No, you don't. Like an email program. Here, I am an email program. Give me your contacts. I don't have any emails in my contact list. But I can understand if you do. I can understand an email application needing to see your contact list for emails. But that should be limited to I'm only going to be able to look at specific contacts to see if there is an email in there, or to add an email to that specific contact, or show me the contact list and just show me the contacts that have an email in it. I can understand that. Obviously, a text messaging application or a phone application, of which you can swap those around on many phones, needs to have access to phone numbers. So obviously, you can allow that. But can you tell me, why does your Facebook account need that? You see, Facebook should be banned from having your contact list. I can look up your name on Facebook if I want to connect to you. But the fact that some person picks up my phone number from somewhere and simply adds it to their contact list, and then they happen to be a sheeple, and then as a little sheeple, they go into their Facebook, would you like to upload your contacts? And they go ahead and do all that crap. I did not consent to Facebook having my name and my phone number. Facebook should not have my name and my phone number. There is not a legitimate reason Facebook needs to harvest information from your contacts. But now what Android is doing is basically saying, hey, if circumstances need a contact, you can specify certain contacts or certain deals with contacts that you do not have a video game, for example, that can have the ability to access your contact list. But again, I still think applications should not have access to your phone contacts by default, because by sharing that information, you have to consent to somebody else. I do not consent to Facebook having any information about me, including my name or my phone number. And I resent the fact that some person might put my name into their phone, and then they're with Facebook, and then give Facebook my information, and now somebody else gave my phone contact information to Facebook when I make active steps to make sure Facebook cannot follow me around the internet. It should be banned to give your contacts to somebody else without your direct consent, period. So anyway, what they're doing on Android 7, some apps on your phone want contacts, most do not need them at all. But have been happily slurping them up for a lot of years. Google has decided to do something about it with the next version of Android. Android 17, currently in preview, is introducing a new contact picker that lets users grant apps access to specific contacts rather than the entire list. All right, so an app that can harvest your entire contact list map can map your social network, identify your family members, potentially hand that data to whoever's buying, and whenever you click yes and to show us all your contacts, it's not just your privacy you're playing with. And that is precisely why. Somebody else is give your information. I don't care about your privacy. Who has anything to hide? No. I'm sorry. I do not want the crazy people at One Hacker Way to have my phone number. Call me crazy. Call me a conspiracy theorist. All right, so location permissions are also set to becoming more granular. So this is good. The new button adds a nuance by letting app developers ask for your location in the moment tied to a specific action like finding a local cafe. So this is actually good. So instead of saying, hey, for your precise location, always your precise location when using the app or never at all, you can say precise location just right now while I'm looking for something nearby. Of course, I will note once again, you can go to a web browser that can't access your location, pull up a Google map and put you where you are because you should know how to read a map. Don't rely on your GPS or location services. And you can type in restaurants and you can see a giant list with all the different locations, even if you're not signed into a Google product. Isn't that amazing? You know, you don't need to like turn on your location services and say, here's where I am. Tell me everything nearby. You can do that yourself. Streets in America, by and large, still have these. They're usually green with white letters. Like everywhere there's roads and intersections, and they kind of tell you where you are. You can actually learn how to read a map, and you can take that map on that browser, and you can just move it around with your fingers and put that location about where you are right near the middle of it. You can go up to a little search bar and you can go find restaurants. It'll give you an amazing little map. You can do it as a list. You can set up as a direction. It's amazing. And you don't even need to log into Google for that. They don't even need to know it's you. Did you guys know that? No. You've been too busy just location services. Contacts. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. They did say they also blocked 8.3 billion bad ads. It's kind of funny. That was 99%. 8.3 billion bad. Let's see. So 1% of them got through, huh? It's like 800 million malicious ads that just got through. Yikes. Still, a census not doing quite enough, you think? 1% of an insanely large number is still very large. That's right. All right, let's see. Meta has a new plan. They need to figure out a way to get rid of more employees. So now they're logging their employers' keystrokes and mouse movements in order to train better AI models. Don't worry, they're not going to lay anybody off. They're just going to train everybody's job into the AI models. A new source of AI training models, its own employees. They're building a more capable and efficient artificial intelligence. Why would they do that? Right? So when reached for comment by TechCrunch, Meta spokesperson provided the following statement. If we're building agents to help people complete everyday tasks using computers, our models need real examples of how people actually use them. Things like mouse movements and clicking buttons and navigating drop-down menus. To help, we're launching an internal tool that will capture these kinds of inputs on certain applications to help us train our models. There are safeguards in place to protect sensitive content, and the data will not be used for any other purpose. Real world examples like using how to use specific applications on work computers. It kind of sounds like me, like people are training AI to do their job for them. That's exciting. Wonderful. If only RoboZuck comment on that, but he's too busy. He's too busy exporting his billions of dollars out of California before that billionaire wealth tax takes into effect. Guys, he bought a land down there in Miami. He's moving on down to Miami. All right, leave your politics with you, Mark, please. All right. U.S. spy laws are set to expire, and lawmakers are split over protecting Americans from warrantless surveillance. So this deals with the FISA courts, and effectively the Trump administration would really, 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 really love to just extend these on another long, long time until, without any changes, because we got to have that sweet government spying. Got to protect us all. I don't know. Maybe if some other cities would actually, keep the criminals in jail, maybe hand over the ones that shouldn't be here, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess, but that might be a lot to ask for. All right. So long-running law allows U.S. intelligence agencies to collect and analyze huge amounts of overseas communications without needing search warrants. Is set to expire April 30th. Lawmakers are in a deadlock over whether to allow the Trump administration to extend it without any changes. This, of course, deals with the FISA courts, which should be completely abolished. So some people are voting to just expand it for a couple more days while they can have discussions. So some people, there's a group of people, including Ron Wyden and who's the Republican from Utah, are trying to add some things into it. So they're saying, hey, if we're going to extend it, let's go ahead and add some of the things that we want in it. We'll get into those in a minute here. Let's see. So they seek provisions to prevent government agencies from using a backdoor search loophole, allowing them to trawl the communications of Americans without first obtaining it. Another would prevent federal agencies from buying commercially available data about Americans from data brokers. Practice government has also long asserted that it does not need a court's permission for. So if the best thing is for these to stop. But if we're going to continue them under the condition that we ban the government from buying data broker information, it might be a silent win in a small way. But Republicans and Democrats want to close the data broker agency. They allow spy agencies to buy commercial data and use AI models to analyze billions of location points. That really is the fundamental problem. So the last thing we need is Palantir to be collecting, storing, and de-siloing all this data, and Mythos out there analyzing all the pieces together. And then, of course, the AI gets things wrong. And then, the FBI kicks in your door because you happen to take a jog by a bank in the morning on your morning run. So, you don't want to be under that one. So it's unclear if the bill will pass. Lawmakers say legislative reforms are necessary, especially as technological advances make it easier for tech companies and governments to surveil. See, we need to end the partnership between the public-private sector partnerships. We need to ban the big tech companies from collecting, storing, harvesting, and analyzing private information. We need better privacy laws in that respect. That's what we need to be done, and we need to prevent the government from doing any form of purchasing any data from any big tech companies. You wanted information, you got to go through and get a warrant. There you go. So Wyden has warned that many lawmakers are not fully aware multiple U.S. administrations have long relied on a secret legal interpretation of 702 that directly affects privacy rights of Americans. And so they're kind of getting in that. He would like to expose what's going on, but he can't because it's all still classified information. So that's wonderful. Isn't that great? France, I don't usually include a lot of international stuff, but this one was good because this is France ANTS ID system. So this is the central federal system that you use if you need to apply for, IDs and passports and a bunch of things. And yeah, it was breached. Handles applications for passports, ID cards, residence permits, and driver's licenses. Authorities detected an incident on April 15th and warned that it may have exposed personal data from both individuals and professionals. Security breach may have exposed user details such as login, ID, email, name, date of birth, and account ID, and in some cases, street address, place of birth, and phone number. They say it does not include uploaded documents and does not allow direct access to user accounts. So that's good. They didn't get the uploaded documents or that, but they got everything they would need to spoof you on creating a new one. So that's always good. Wonderful. Isn't that great? That's so wonderful. This was a neat new bug that came out. So, not bug, a scam. So this is Apple notifications. Like real Apple notifications are used to drive tech support scams. Fortunately, in the current iteration, they still, if you have a couple of functioning synapses that are dancing together, you will probably not fall for this. But you might have elderly parents that very well could, especially since everyone's using either an Apple or an iPhone or an Android. If you're in the Apple ecosystem and you have these, and by the way, I'm still getting several of those account things on my whole inbox is full of them. I'm just to see how many I get. I don't know. I've never had that issue resolved. So anyway, scammers found a way to abuse legitimate Apple account notification emails to trick users into calling fake tech support numbers. So what they're doing is they're creating a real Apple account, but then what they're doing is under the information that you can put in, they're basically putting in stuff that can be fed into like the name field. So, when you're filling out your Apple account, whatever you put here, dear switch to Linux, first name switched, maybe first name switched, middle name to, and last name Linux, right? Would record out on an email, it will take all this information and put it together at the preface of an email. So it says, dear switch to Linux. Well, now what they're doing is they're filling out information with all this kind of stuff here with some spoofed purchase information and then a fake phone number here. And so what they're doing then is Apple will, if you have some issue, you will get an email back from Apple. And what they're doing is they're piping that email program into an email list that will effectively forward this directly on everybody. But because of the way they're doing it, everybody is getting the email legitimately from Apple. So they're calling this callback phishing. And so this is what it actually looks like. And you'll see it's actually coming from Apple, Apple ID at id.apple.com. So it's a legitimate address and they're putting in everybody's real email address, basically spamming a BCC contact list. And then it says, your Apple account information has been updated. Dear user, $899 US iPhone purchased via PayPal. To cancel this, call the phone number. So again, if you're paying attention, you're probably not going to fall for this. And then, hey, the following changes to your Apple account were made on, this date, shipping information. This is all information they put in there. So somebody that's not really a keen or is prone to quickly worry, like, oh my God, $899 is charged my PayPal account. They got to call this phone number right now. And you've just called the scammer. So beautiful, wonderful thing. And so even the email header there is like information has been updated, but the information I purchased. So if you're paying attention, you probably are not going to fall for this, but it is definitely a clever one. I wait to see what the future iterations of that one going to be. All right, and this was a good one. This wasn't big enough to have a whole Windows Wednesday article on, but yeah, some people are finding that the Patch Tuesday patch for April is breaking your BitLocker. That thing that they forced on everybody's computer. Now, the saving grace here, it's not everybody. It is people with an atypical configuration with an out-of-date BIOS firmware. So just be aware of that. But there are a few limited cases that if you have this, particularly if you've done BitLocker, anything outside of the regular norm, you are at risk of needing to enter your decryption key manually. So make sure you have those decryption keys before you install the Patch Tuesday for April, folks. All right, so with previous updates, some users run into issues. They've confirmed a specific BitLocker-related problem that can cause affected devices to boot directly into BitLocker recovery screen, preventing access to the desktop. Behavior is triggered by an unrecommended BitLocker configuration. So BitLocker must be enabled on the operating system drive and configure TPM platform validation profile for native UEFI firmware configurations. Policy must be configured to PCR7 been included in the validation profile. So that's the not recommended one. They also did say that the device must not already be running the 2023 signed Windows Boot Manager. So you also have an old signed Windows Boot Manager. They say it's not a widespread issue and most devices are not affected, but just be aware if you do have any weird settings inside of your BitLocker, you may have problems. Make sure you got that decryption key before you push that update. Congratulations, Microsoft. Y'all did it again. Oh, this is good. Remember that wave of ransomware, and then ransomware negotiators come up, kind of like the kidnap negotiators, right? And so ransomware negotiator comes down and pleads guilty to helping ransomware gang. There were actually 3 of them, and they were all working for a company. And not only did they negotiate higher rates for the ransomware guys, which put money into their pocket, but they also helped the ransomware companies install the malware on the potential clients. How wonderful. Angelo Martino, a former ransomware negotiator, has pled guilty to helping cyber criminals extort companies in cyber attacks. He used to work for Digital Mint, admitted to playing both sides in the negotiation in 5 separate incidents. His goal was to maximize the criminal's payout, for which he took a cut, prosecutors said. He is the 3rd ransomware negotiator in the past year to face jail time. And they all, by the way, worked for Digital Mint. So if you are hiring one of these companies, I would highly recommend not using Digital Mint. They apparently are not vetting their employees well enough. All right. So Digital Mint employee Kevin Tyler Martin, as well as Ryan Clifford, a former incident report manager at cybersecurity firm Cigna, of ongoing going rogue and helping the ransomware gang. And this is why we need to not have information on the internet, folks. Pled guilty to extortion, faces up to 20 years in prison. Authorities say they already seized $10 million in assets from. He also admitted to helping Goldberg and Martin deploy Alpha V Black Cat's ransomware against several victims inside the U.S. for 6 months in 2023. An unnamed Digital Mint spokesperson told TechCrunch in a statement, the company had no knowledge of his criminal actions and it fired the 2 employees after learning of accusations against them. So that's good, but maybe a little too little, a little too late. All right. And of course, Tesla, I did want to include this one because it just kind of shows us one of the challenges here with our current world is we keep on getting like, and everyone's talking about like there's videos all over, oh look about all these subscriptions are everywhere and all these subscriptions, y'all guys keep buying them. Okay, I have never bought a subscription service. I mean, it's obviously services, phone, internet service, things like that, obviously. Amazon Prime, I gotta get free guys, can I let you in on a little secret? Amazon Prime doesn't get you things shipped faster. The only thing it might get you is free shipping on orders lower than $35. You do realize you go to Amazon and you hit a $35 balance, it's free shipping on almost everything. Unless it's sold by some third party. So you go in there and you make sure your cart's over $35 or higher, and they don't have a separate shipping tier. It's all shipped the same way. You still get free shipping. It still comes really fast. Like I literally last Saturday, I think, ordered something on Amazon, and it was in my mailbox on Tuesday. I don't have Amazon Prime. I didn't pay anything for shipping. Stop paying for Amazon Prime! I mean, obviously, if you watch the movies, it might be worth it to you, but don't be buying Amazon Prime. I get fresh free shipping. No, you don't. You get the same shipping as everybody else as long as your order is over $35. If you're sitting here like placing multiple amounts of micro orders at $2.99, manage your purchasing better. I mean, really. But anyway, how this ties into Tesla. Tesla has a Q1 revenue rise. They did have a couple of dips, but now they're rising. Why is it rising? Well, that full self-driving is now subscription. They shipped fewer vehicles than they were projected to, but they did raise prices. And full self-driving subscriptions, just like Apple. Apple started moving to subscription stuff for things, and their revenues started to skyrocket. Tesla's like, hey, we want to join in the skyrocket revenues. Let's just go ahead and start adding more subscriptions to our cars. And to be clear, Tesla did have some other subscriptions as well. They have a subscription if you want a higher battery range. Like, it's the same exact batteries. Your battery range is just limited by a piece of software that if you give them more money every month, they let your batteries take you further. It's the same batteries. They're just letting it take you further. You just got to pay them a little bit more money. If you stop doing this, people, if we as a collective society stop paying subscription services, we might actually reach 2030 and still own things and still be happy. But they saw an uptick in revenue and profit year-over-year figures, buoyed by an increase in automotive revenue and other services, including active subscriptions to its full self-driving. And if you remember, full self-driving used to be a one-time payment. It was like $1,000 or something. Now it's just a $99 a month subscription. So, how long is it? Oh, 1 year, that's $1,200. So instead of paying $1,000 once, now you'll be paying $1,200 perpetually. I hope you like your full self-driving. And please pay attention, because full self-driving Teslas do, in studies, tend to still run over childlike objects in the street. Just be aware of that. All right. That was some study from the NTSB, not me. All right. So, but yeah, they are saying here that their business models increased. They had a couple quarters of decrease. They went back up after they started doing some full self-driving subscription services. So there you go, guys. If you're starting a business, you want to make lots more money, go ahead and start adding subscription services. And with that, let's go ahead and jump over to Sillyville. We were super light on the Sillyville news, so I did pull in, as I usually do, a very neutral, funny story that wasn't tech related, but it was just too beautiful not to include. The Illinois Museum's Titanic exhibit floods on the anniversary of the 6th shipping. Okay. This is God literally coming down and saying, I just wanted to remind you, I did sink that boat. Okay. So there is a museum to the Titanic in Illinois. Volo Museum in Illinois installed a permanent Titanic display 3 years ago, and the display immediately flooded. Then, on the anniversary of Titanic's sinking, it flooded again. According to Fox 32, museum curator Brian Grams is convinced the display is haunted. Oh, no. It's just experiencing a godly karma. Y'all said you couldn't sink this ship. I'm telling you, I sank it, and I'm going to keep sinking it. Don't tell God what to do. Building has never had water, not a drop. Once we put in the Titanic exhibit, it took on water.
I'm the owner of the museum, and he said a water sensor went off, looked like in the Titanic Museum. This is around 9 o'clock. There's a ton of storms last night. We come in today.
All right, so I don't know if we're going to get a copyright claim on that video there, because there's some music in the background. Look at this. This is crazy. Couldn't figure out where the water's coming from. It's just flooded. Oh dear. Storms in the area. Museum staff said there were no cracks in the foundation, no broken pipes, no leaky roofs, no obvious points of entry to explain the flooding. Both times security cameras recorded floods originated from beneath the six-fendered 1912 Renault. There were only 2 of them ever made. One is in the Titanic's hold at the bottom of the ocean, and the other is at the museum. That's kind of cool, actually. All right, so just saying, it never would have happened if Rose had let Jack get on the stupid raft with her. That's right, guys. Or it probably would have never happened if they didn't run around saying, God, not even God could sink this ship. Oh, yeah, he can. And yes, he did. And he's going to keep reminding you every year. All right, on to dystopian silliness. UK is going to roll out facial recognition everywhere after the High Court rules against Big Brother Watch, saying it violated human rights. Yes, there is a watch group in UK called Big Brother Watch. And Big Brother Watch is warning against as Orwellian dystopian nonsense coming to Britain. And Big Brother Watch took UK to court over rolling out of facial recognition cameras. And the police are saying, oh, no, we only use these to look for bad people, not good people. If you're a good person, you have nothing to hide. All right. And so now Big Brother Watch loses their lawsuit. And as soon as they lose their lawsuit, UK comes out and says, yep, we're putting facial recognition cameras everywhere. Take that, Big Brother Watch. I love Big Brother. So there you go. Look at that dystopian looking thing. Ugh. Looks like it's kind of like an Illuminati eye. Yeah. So these guys, they are treating 1984 like a field guide. So I should remind them it was a dystopian story. But of course these guys get into power and they're just like, hey, you know, it'd be wonderful. What if we put out these cameras? We can spy on everybody. Yeah, that sounds awesome. These are what they look like. They kind of look like my van, which is kind of frightening. So maybe I should do that. I should grab some of these live facial recognition stickers and put them on the side of my van. Maybe put some like camera looking things at the top, drive around, you know, CCTV in operation. I should do that. I wonder if I'd get stopped. I don't know. So, you know, but Big Brother is indeed now watching because Big Brother Watch failed to stop Big Brother from watching. Yeah, good feelings are gone, folks. Well, if you'd like Big Brother to watch you help support this channel, have a look over at our website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have our various ways of helping support the channel over there. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts about all these in the comments down below.